Okay, so welcome to lesson 2, topic 2C. So install and configure system memory. So continuation of our previous class, continuation of our previous class, lesson 2A and lesson 2B. So we're going to look at how do we install and configure a system memory. I'm going to look at right now. Okay, so yeah, okay. So we have a system memory, computer, which is computer memory. We explained the RAM the other day, random access memory, virtual memory, page files, fast speed, protected mode. Okay, so for processor, this is our processor. We explained this to processor, system processor. We explained the other day as well. So this is your hard drive, this is your paging file, this is your virtual forging memory. So first of all, let's look at virtual memory space. What are virtual memory space? Very important, right? So virtual memory usually, there's some that part of our hardware that's being used for what storage. So virtual memory again, they're part of that space in a hard drive, which could be hardware, could be your processor. The devices that the space from it are being taken that are used as memory. We call it a virtual memory. So the memory is inside, is inside it's not a physical memory, rather the memory is inside the hard drive, but it's being used. That space inside that drive, inside that device, is being taken and used as a memory. We call it the virtual drive. The virtual, so whenever you have virtual memory, you know that the space that's being taken from your devices could be in your processor, it could be your hard drive, but it's taken away from you to use it as what memory. So a lot of times there are your hard drive is you notice your hard drive is you have enough space on your hard drive, and your memory is getting filled up. Your memory is maybe you have a 16 gig RAM, right? I notice that your system is slow. So when you check your memory usage, you could see that the memory is almost being used. Of the 16 gigabytes almost being used. So what you have to do at that point in time, before you get a new memory, additional memory to upgrade your memory, you can take a space from your hard drive. If your hard drive has enough space, you can borrow 2 gig from your hard drive or even 4 gig and use that one as well as memory. We call that one virtual memory, right? We call it virtual memory. Okay. So now this is how our memory is, right? This is our memory called DIMM. So back then, this would be called HDRAM. It is not obsolete. We don't have HDRAM anymore. So we have we call DIMM. So we call it DIMM now. So our memory is like this. So this one now, take a look at this one. Double demarcation, both plates. These are modules, memory modules. You see, you have double here, one, two. We call it on HDRAM. HDRAM. They are obsolete. You will not see them anymore. Call them they are obsolete. You will not see them anymore. So what we have now is DDRAM. That what we have now. Not HDRAM. So this RAM, you're not going to see this one. These are old ones, right? So what we have now is the not HDRAM, it's called DDRAM. That what we have right now, right? So that is typical of what we have here. So here now you have this RAM, this kind of these are memory slots. So you want to install your memory, these are what you're going to install it on. So these are the memory slots. So they have just one word demarcation, just one. You see, and in our previous class, that lesson one, we explain how to install it. So you just get your memory, get it, and watch the memory, the polarity of the memory. Here the side that has the channel, watch it very well. There's a demarcation there which has 12 bits. So you get it very well, and you look at it very well, look at the side that is smaller, and you fix your memory. So the memory has a slot, see, like a clip. So don't force it when you're trying to install it. So you take a look at the memory, look at the hole. Then that where the hole is, make sure it's facing this place and do it gently, don't force it. Just go gently, just go gently. If it goes in, then you cannot press it to not clip. So that's that to restore the memory. Right? Okay. So we also have error codes, error correcting code. So now, our memory actually they had 8-bit checksum to check transfer, can correct 1-bit error, detect error. So what this means that our memory usually they You know, when you put when memory is working actually, so they able to detect errors and correct it automatically. So if the memory is an error, the memory will detect it and be able to correct it by itself without you bothering, right? So and again we're going to explain later how memory work, like errors in memories, when memory is having issues, memory compatibility issues. We're going to explain all that later. Okay, so 2D install and configure CPUs. So this 2D now install and configure CPUs. So CPUs are different type. So the architecture for the manufacturer, you have a CPU of 86X and CPU of 4X architecture. So in most CPUs, when the CPU, if you have a CPU of 86 architecture CPU, it means that the system itself can take a lower bit of what OS. So for instance, now we have what we call the 32 bit. 32 bits are low-ended CPU applications, OS. So they are not built for larger consumption. They're just built to take smaller things, like basic things, not large environment, not larger environment. Like for instance, in operating system, we have what we call the home edition. Those home edition, they are built to take basic things, basic, not major things. So they're not used for enterprise environment, just for the home where you can use because they don't contain large for information. They just contain what you can do with the system and your home, maybe browse the internet. But when it comes to enterprise environment, where you have your company database, where you have networking, you have to do some security, all those things, you will not get them in this kind of CPU. You don't get this kind of system. This system actually, this 86 CPU architecture, they are relatively cheaper. They are cheaper, they're affordable, they're cost effective, you know. Then you can use them for small place, like your home. You can use it not for your business environment, you're not a business environment. So if you have if you need to buy a computer system, so what you have to ask, what am I going to use this for? If you just want to use to send your emails and do small work, browse, go to social media, then you just have to get this. It's a little cheaper for you. Now, when you want to look at doing higher stuff, so maybe you are into production, you're into graphics, you're into video editing, or you want to use your company in a company environment, you cannot buy 86. You have to go for 64X processor. So you're buying the system, you have to know which of the architecture you're buying. So if you buy 64, which means you have to do for what is you have to do for an OS that's 64-bit OS. All right. Of course, you can only install 32-bit OS inside 64 OS. You can say 32-bit OS inside 64 OS, but what happened? The OS is going to run. It's going to run you're going to run the CPU below capacity. Do you understand that? It's going to run below capacity, just like you're having the latest saloon car of 2026 inside, right? And you're just what you're doing inside just to drive to. You're not flying speed. You're not doing anything, you know. And that system is supposed to file at higher speed, so do so many things. You're not doing anything inside. So the same thing here. If you have a X64 CPU architecture, the OS you're going to use 64-bit OS that has what so many features I can do, like your network security, that can do your graphics work you want to do your video editing, so many things, live streaming, so many things you want to do with it. They are very robustful. They contain so much security. They can use in enterprise environment like company, so you can use that type of architecture. So for 64-bit, remember you cannot use 64 on X38. It's not going to work. You cannot use 64 on this. It will not work. Again, you cannot use 64 on this. So if you are buying an application, want to buy software, what bit is the software? If it's telling that it's 32 bits, 32 bits will only work on what? 86. 32 bits will work on 86 only. You understand that? But it can also work on what 64, but you're going to what undermine the processor. You're not going to use the full feature of the processor. Again, if you use a 64-bit application, so now you know about application, it's saying 64 bits. What means that 64 bit will only work on what? This process only. It will not work on this. This 4-bit OS will not work on 86-bit processor. Take a note. Take note. You're not going to work. You're exactly going to see something like that. They're not going to work. Right? So your processor has clock speed. We explained the other day that it has a clock speed, right? So it has clock speed and stuff like that, right? So all these things, multi-threading, these are what we talk about for multi-threading, simultaneous multi-threading, hyper-threading, requires software support, symmetric multiprocessor. All these are some of the features of the processor, virtualization support. Now, all these ones here you see, right? A CPU that has multi-threading, do all this symmetric multiprocessing. It can process so many things, so many CPUs, multiple CPUs, and sockets. You understand? Then you can do virtualization. So when we say virtualization, you're talking about whereby a hard drive is one computer can host multiple computer. So you see you know, one computer can have like multiple computers installed inside. So that will call virtualization. You understand? So, for instance, now you can have one computer, you can have just one computer system. In that one computer system, you can have a large network existing in one computer. So, what means that you have one computer with multiple computers inside that computer. We call it virtualization. So, when you do that, you must enable this. Your processor must have this hyper threading and virtualization support. If your motherboard processor does not support these two things, then you cannot do what's called virtualization. Very important. Take notes. And we explained this on there. We explained about the clock speed on. We explained clock speed on lesson one. Again, I could advise you go back to lesson one, right? Go back to lesson one where we explain all these things. Clock speed. We'll talk about the processor has their own speed. I would say the higher the speed of the processor, the faster the processor will go look like. The lower the speed, lower the processor is going to look like. So you want to have a good processing speed. You want to have a good processing. You want the system to work faster. You must go for what a higher processing speed, right? So take a look. Go back to. So these are CPU socket. We explained the other day. So your CPU has socket, and these are the clip. So take a look. These are the clip of your CPU. So in other words, if you want to take out a CPU, right? You see, there's a button here. You must come here, press it down, and press it down very well, and take it, move it to your right, right? Then you come here and take out this clip here, take it out. Now take it out. You cannot take out your CPU, right? I explained how to connect the CPU in lesson one too. If you put it back the CPU, if you want to connect the CPU in back, watch the connection, don't force it. If you force it, you might go the wrong way. So go gently, you don't know how to do it. Go gently, go gently, go gently. If it's not going, don't force it, take it out. Try the other way around until you fix him. When you fix him back, you cannot put back your pin. This pin, you pick it back, then you cannot put this pin, press it down and fix it. That's how to connect with the CPU. All right? Okay. So now there's different kind of CPU that the AMD CPUs. AMD. So AMD means that the CPUs come with the motherboard. They call the AMD CPU. So they come with the motherboard directly. So you don't need to unblock it. So mind you, take a look. These are if you see here, this is where you connect your CPU. If you take this out, like this one will explain. See this one now, this one. If you take this pin out, this pin, if you take it out, you're going to get this. That's what you're going to see. This is where you put your CPU. Very important. Take a look. You put your CPU here. See, this is how you put it. So I said, wash it well, wash the polarity. Don't use force. Go gently. If you go gently, it doesn't go in. Take it. I tried it. It should just clip easily. Just goes in, clicking, fixing seamlessly without you forcing it. Right? So that's how to connect. Any device you want to connect, these are the way to connect it. You go in gently, just fix it. Don't force anything, right? Okay. So why here now it's all about CPU, motherboard. So very important what you're using, gaming PC, workstations, home office devices. We explained all these things earlier. The kind of system you want to use, right? So we talk about the X for CPU, talk about the X 32 and the X what 64, right? So that we explain when to use the when if I'm going to do gaming, of course, which means I'm going to need what 64 bits x64 processor architecture. If just ordinary home office and PC, well, I just have to get normal stuff, right? Normal X32, just office home use. If I'm going to use my system for high performance stuff like server stuff, networking and everything, then I have to get 64 bits. So we explained these ones earlier, so you can go back and take a look at all these explanation, right? So meanwhile, if you have any question, you can go to the comment section. You can ask me any question, then I'm going to answer you directly, right? So, okay, so that is it about lesson two. So thank you once again for following up. So I look forward to seeing you in lesson three. Bye.